Hey folks, I'm going to record this one real quick. Just over a week ago, while I was cycling across the Midwest through Iowa City, I got hit by a car. That's put me really far behind on my video making schedule, which is really making me think I need to drop the cadence of the video making to be a little bit less often. And just bank a bunch of my video content until the end
The
and do
way
it when I have more time. So I think last time I recorded something like this would have been a couple of weeks ago. I was cycling across Nebraska and then Iowa, and since then I've crossed Illinois and I'm currently in Indiana. Then when I got to Iowa City, I was zooming through a bunch of different bike lanes away from the traffic, and there was a little bit of section where there wasn't any bike lanes. There were roads with sharrows, so that's the little marking that says that bikes should take the entire lane. And as I was going down a steep hill, a car came to turn left in front of me into a side road and looked like they were stopping to give way, which would have been correct. I had the right of way. And then pulled out. I pulled on my brakes, tried to stop, but couldn't stop in time and ended up hitting the back of their car and flipping over my handlebars. And as seems to be the main way I crash, landing on my face. So I got 5 stitches, a couple hours in the hospital, and the biggest drama of my life has been all of the different types of damage that happened to my bike. So my 1-inch threadless 650B fork got bent beyond repair. The bike shop in Iowa City, World Bikes, did a really good job of bending it back just enough that I could keep riding on it. Sent a big call out on Instagram asking if anyone could help me find a threadless 1-inch 650B fork. And in the end, I found one at Blue Lug, which I got couriered from Japan to Chicago, cycled a week to Chicago, and got the fork switched over at Comrade Cycles, who were really kind in being able to help me out the same day with all of that stuff. After that, I still have been having issues, so my tyre just kept going flat every single day, and slowly it was getting worse and worse, going flat twice a day. Couldn't figure it out. Tried loosening the valve, jiggling it around, all of those things, and then eventually when I took the tyre off this morning, I realised that it just didn't have any sealant in it at all. I assume that probably because RAGBRAI is on and bike shops in Iowa are quite busy and stressed, and we were still kind of negotiating whether I was even going to take my bike or whether I was going to have to replace it entirely to be able to keep going. The bike shop just put the tyre on with no sealant. That's okay. So I've been massively relieved to find out that my mystery problem is actually just the fact that my tyre had no sealant in it. And what else have we got? We've finally got replaced brake levers and stuff like that because my right hand brake lever was completely mangled beyond repair since that was the part of the bike that came in contact with the car. So heading all the way back to the beginning of this section, I had a few other sort of more average and unassuming days and problems. The Midwest is very flat and in some sections quite exposed, so Had days and days upon days of headwinds. I stopped at a campsite part of the way through Nebraska and left my shoes outside of my tent, as well as both of my shirts, since it was a particularly hot day, and then woke up in the morning and unzipped my tent to find hundreds of little bugs, which people have since informed me are here called roly-polies. Back home we call them slaters. Were chewing my shoes and all over my shirt, so had to get all my stuff on the end of a long stick and just shake them off as best I could. And my shoes still have all of the bite marks from the beetles that had a little bit of a snack that morning. I've been eating mostly dumpster dived gas station food, so eating really well, but not many vegetables. I've had lots of days where it's been kind of hard to find a campsite, and I've had to stealth camp. There isn't really much in the way of cycle touring around here, it seems. That or everyone is at RAGBRAI. I haven't seen that many other cyclists for a couple of weeks. One of my stealth camps, especially after looking at the prices of campsites, I ended up trying to camp on what turned out to be called the Raccoon River Trail, and that was for a good reason. So after I pitched my tent that night, I heard a big rustling in the bushes just after I got into my tent, and came back out and looked into the trees, and there were a few little raccoon faces looking at me, which meant I had to pack up my camp and move and find a campsite next to a rubbish bin where I could hide my stuff, because I had a crack in my beer canister. I sent it back for a warranty, so didn't have any food storage solutions. That was a bit of a nightmare, and yes, I can say I can't recommend beer canisters enough. They just make your life so much easier. Yeah, I think since the last video I must have covered about 2,000 kilometers. I've been pedaling mostly just plain 100k days across America, trying to get to the East Coast. Had a great time staying in Omaha, staying with Ben and Jesse, who very sweetly left all their Pride decorations up for me, so that I could see them when I got there. That was really, really cool. And visiting Ponderosa Cyclery, where I tried to pretty much just went in to say hello, and it turned out they were selling a Wahoo previous generation, so swapped my bike computer out because the Garmin has been quite buggy. It's been trying to lose track points and delete rides, which is really stressful for the world record. And stayed in Iowa City with Audrey from the bike library after the crash. So the bike library really helped me get on my feet again, since after the crash. The driver took me to the hospital, but I got him to take me to the bike shop first, and pretty much threw my bike at the bike shop because I wasn't going to leave my bike locked with my tiny little lock in the middle of a city. So gave them my bike, but the next morning when I came back, they were too busy to fit me in straight away, so I ended up getting put in touch with the bike library. Well, they got in touch with me, thanks to someone else sending my story to them, and asked if I could use their space to fix my own bike. So spent about 6 hours just fixing my bike and getting it into a rideable state so that I could carry on. Ended up staying with Audrey, attending the WTF night at the bike library, and Jeff, one of their volunteers, who's a frame builder, came down to have a look at the state of my fork as well, which was really awesome. From there, I had to make decisions pretty quickly because the logistics of getting things sent ahead of you is actually quite hard. you have to figure out a place that's as close as possible, but not too close that the thing you're sending ahead will arrive before you do. And so I ended up landing on Chicago as the place that would be, and I ended up staying with Caleb, who helps to lead the Monday night ride there, which meant it was really awesome in Chicago, but I didn't get much of a rest day because I ended up agreeing to stay out late until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. with their Monday night ride. And between that and going to the bike shop, I've added about 52 kilometers that I'm not going to count to my world ride. But that's okay. It was totally worth it. What else? Yeah. So from Chicago, I kept pedaling. I finally figured out my tire issue, and now I am heading to Pittsburgh. By the time I post this, I might already be there, since things are on a bit of a delay, especially having had to deal with so much paperwork from the crash and different things that I need to fix and different messages from all sorts of people. So, yeah, that's it. I hope I got through that update pretty fast. It takes a while to edit these, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, catch you later.